Hey friends, welcome back to Carissa's Creative Kids. Today's video is on terminating care from your childcare. What I mean by terminating care is a child is no longer working for you in your childcare, or you're just not able to meet the needs of this particular child, or something like the parents are just not paying or whatnot. So these are reasons you would need to terminate care. Likeliness is, if you're watching this video, you already know you need to terminate care, and I don't need to go over the specifics of why you would terminate care. I just want to give you kind of like some of my knowledge. I have been running my daycare now for 3 years, and I have terminated care, I would say 4 times in 3 years. That being said, I don't have a huge turnover rate in my daycare either. So what had happened is mainly when I had terminated care, they were with me for the first month and it wasn't working out. Another time I had terminated care on really good terms. I just wasn't able to accommodate the space that they needed. And so I had to terminate the care so that I was running within my legal ratios for my daycare. Now let's just get into the rough terminations, and then I'll kind of chat a little bit more on my nice ones. So what I would absolutely suggest to you is that you keep it as plain and simple as possible. You do not want to terminate care on a bad note here, and you will do so if you say something like, I'm terminating care because your kid cries all day. Everybody loves their children. We all know this. Everybody's child to them is an angel. And you know what? That's completely true. Everybody's kid is good. There is no bad kids. There's no such thing as a bad kid. Now, when you're terminating care, it's because you parent a different way than their parents parent. So you really don't want to make an enemy here. Everybody thinks that they're in the right? And I think that's because everybody's right is right for them. It doesn't mean it's right for you. It means it's right for what they need. So if you're going to be terminating because a kid is stressing you out and crying constantly all day, and you've done all you can to try and rectify the situation, make the child more comfortable in your home, I think it's really important just to have open communication with the parents that, like, coming up, this isn't working out. Like, they know right offhand you're having problems. It's not a huge shock to them. When it's a huge shock to them, that's when you start getting the turmoil in there. It turns into a he said, she said game, and you don't want to be involved in that. Likeliness is that these parents are going to say bad things about you because you're terminating their kid, and they don't understand why you're not on their level, but you know what you can handle. And number one thing right now is your mental health, is your self-care. So if I have a kid who's coming every day and stressing me out, and I am lacking in being able to provide care for the other kids because of this kid, then that is too much on me and I need to terminate. So I think it's really important that you do understand everybody's going to think they're right, and there is no wrong reason here. So in that situation, my number one suggestion, plain and simple. You really don't want to spell out for the parents why you're terminating care in this situation. You want to make a note that says, Dear so-and-so, please accept this letter as our official termination notice. I am giving you 2 weeks, X date, to terminate the care of name of the child. Best wishes, Carissa, or whoever you are. And just stick with that. That's all you want to do. You don't want to poke the bear. You don't want to anger them any further, because there are going to be hard feelings, and it doesn't make you a bad person to put limitations on what you can handle. This is your business, and it is so important that as a childcare provider, you are taking care of yourself. Now, by taking care of yourself, you are also taking care of the kids in your care. If you're a happier person, if you're happy during the day, it's going to show. If you have a child who's stressing you out and it's pushing your buttons, all of the kids are going to feel it. And that's not fair to the other kids that you are caring for. They're here to have fun. You are their home away from home. These kids are looking to you. They're watching how you react to situations. You're teaching these kids through your behaviors. Something that I've picked up on is when I'm stressed out with a kid, the other kids, they know. So then they start picking on that kid, and I'm just like, wow, it honestly is a thing. And I would never single out a child, but when you are stressed out with a child, it's important to know your limitations. They're a good kid. Yes, they are. You know what? I have a son with severe ADHD, and he can be a handful. But let me tell you, he is a good kid. Even though does not conform to the well-rounded child, he's still an amazing, amazing kid. And I love him so much. And I really think about that when I'm terminating care for other families. I understand that if I were to put my child into a childcare setting, that there is a likeliness that somebody couldn't handle him and that he could be terminated just because he has severe ADHD and ODD. I get that. Not everybody can handle that type of kid. Some parents, though, they don't recognize that. They keep it bottled in, and they think that their kid is just perfect, and that's totally fine. But you are not a bad person for saying, I can't handle this. So I think that's really important to note. Anytime that you are terminating care, there's really two situations here. There's, I can't handle the kid, but it's not a danger. Or there's, this is a serious issue and this needs to be plain and simple terminated care ASAP. I put in my contract in those situations, if a child is hurting, and that goes for hitting, biting, whatever. If a child is hurting another child, I give 3 warnings. And by the 3rd warning, we're done. And deposit is gone. And that's how that's going to go. Now, by hurting, I don't mean accidental, because that happens every single day. Somebody's riding a bike, they're not watching where they're going, and they run over somebody's toe. That's not an issue to me. What's an issue to me is when it is malicious, when it is repetitive, even after they've been warned that we don't do this, this is not a good choice, we don't act like this, we be gentle. After redirection, they go right back to hurting how they were. That to me is when I have to give my warnings. All of this is in my contract, and I definitely make sure that parents understand that if that happens, their deposit is not being given back. It's an unsafe situation, and I've only ever terminated once because of that. And yeah, I won't get into details about any of my terminations, but I have used that once. And yes, I kept their deposit and the child was out of care. You know what? Those parents were really good about it. They understood. They knew their child was in the wrong here. We had talked about it. There was an open communication. This child would not stop, and the parents were understanding. I also was not the first daycare that he was kicked out of. Again, at that point, I really just did encourage the parents that maybe some other supports were needed for this child. And then I did, knowing having a son that does have severe ADHD and ODD myself, I was actually able to point them in the right direction. So it was good terms for the most part. Not my best termination, but it was okay. We ended on a good note. Like, that's what I really strive for here, is I want to end a termination on a good note, so I'm not being blasted on the internet for being a bitch, right? So there's that. Anytime a parent is being harassing, belittling, or mean to you, that would be another time I would say, no, I'm ending care ASAP. This is not working out. You've gone against my contract rules here. In that instance, I would also just terminate. I think it is important to give parents some notice. For me, in my contract, it says that I have a month that's kind of like a trial period for a child, because parents act different in interviews as they would for you in real day-to-day life. So a kid might act different, parents might act different. I think it's important to have a trial period in your contract so that parents know, okay, we have a month to see if this works out. If it's not working out in the first month, you'll know. You will know. And I have used it. I've used it twice where I didn't find a child was the best suit for me. There was nothing wrong with the child at all. I just didn't feel like the child meshed with my group well. I didn't feel like he would have a fun time here because the kids were not connecting. Like, there's so many different things that could go into a termination, but I really think it's important to note that any of these things do not make for a bad kid. It's just how things go sometimes. This is your business, it's your rules. Definitely do what feels right for you and for your business. Anyways, guys, that's all I got. You know what? If you have more questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or Facebook, or even just comment down below. I'm happy to help you out. Like I said, in my 3 years, I have terminated 4 times. One was an absolute amazing termination. Their schedule did not meet what I had available in my daycare at the time, and we remained friends. So there's that. Honestly, if you have any questions, I can go either way. I can give you advice on a negative situation, or I could give you advice on a positive situation for termination. But that's all I got for today. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. I've got lots more mom videos, home daycare videos, just everything in the works right now. I've really been enjoying doing vlogs lately, so definitely follow along. We have a huge basement daycare reno happening right now because our basement flooded, so that's definitely something I cannot wait to show you guys. Picking out flooring and new cabinets. It's going to be amazing. I'm really excited. So please do consider subscribing. Any home daycares out there, I would love your support. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.